Welcome to the Marlon vs. Marlon podcast. And I'm your boy Marlon.
And I'm your boy Marlon.
Join us as two childhood friends go back and forth, argue, debate, every once in a while maybe even agree on everything from sports, pop culture, and everything in between.
On today's episode, we're going to get into all the NFL Week 1 action. We're going to look ahead to the Week 2 NFL action. Also, AB is in the news yet again. We'll get into some comments from everybody and Stephen A. Also, we're going to do a little deep dive into the AFC North. But today, we're actually going to start with Team USA.
Basketball?
Yeah,
yes.
Not yes for this Team USA. We know they just lost to France a few days ago. This team does not look great. A lot of, I don't want to call them average guys, but you have a lot of role players and some stars, but you don't have any major all-stars on there. So if they had any all-stars on the team, do they get further in the tournament?
If the all-star's name is Jesus. Jesus literally take the wheel for this team. That would have been the only way I saw this team winning the World Cup?
World, yeah.
It's not the Olympics yet.
Yeah.
But this is just a tough spot to put these teams. I mean, we saw a star-studded team back in 03-04 with young superstars now who
up and
are
coming.
Young superstars back then that are for sure superstars and even Hall of Famers now.
Kobe, Wade, Bron, all of them.
And
Melo.
And they just couldn't get it done. And that was Kobe was 8 years in the league, something like that.
Came in 96, yeah.
So, this is a tough spot to put these young guys. Maybe a couple all-stars in there.
I mean, Donovan Mitchell, Joe Harris, Harrison Barnes, Miles. A lot of.
I like Harrison Barnes. He's a UNC guy too.
I mean, they're good players, but a team like Derek White, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Brooke Lopez, Chris Middleton. I mean, they're good players, but you don't have those LeBrons, those KDs, those Kyries, those Stephs. You don't have players like that can help you in the long run. And that brings me to my next question. Who's the guy? Who do you go to for the last shot? I mean,
they went to Donovan Mitchell for a lot of shots.
Yeah.
The first and the last and everyone in between. He had something like 23 shot attempts in that game.
But the next person took 9. Kimba.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's not
crazy.
Even a bad thing necessarily, but when the next guy on the roster only takes 9 shots, the next most shots is 9, that's when you start to see a problem, especially in this international game, because it's so different. It's not the isolation NBA that we're used to watching every year. This is like a completely different game where these other teams, these international teams that are experienced with veteran guys that are used to playing with each other, and used to playing in that international style. So this is just a tough matchup. I think it's safe to say this isn't the best team
by
USA
far.
We could have put out there.
But
it's still pretty embarrassing to be the team that loses after 80, 90 straight wins, something crazy like that. So shout out to France though.
Yeah, and then Pop came out before when everybody was starting to back out. They asked him, how do you feel about everybody backing out? And he said it's a privilege, which it is. I mean, everybody should want to play and represent your country. I get it. Some of these teams go deep into the playoffs, and they want to rest. They want to spend time with their families and travel because it's a long season. You're talking October to May, June, if you're lucky to get that far. So it's a long season. You're traveling a lot and having families and babies and all that stuff. So I know it's just tough to then go travel more and play more and then essentially have barely a month off to be with your family before the season starts back up with training camp.
Well, how kind of Popovich to give one of his Spurs, Derek White, the privilege of being one of the 15 that can say they were the first USA team to lose in 100 games.
It's bad.
Thanks, Pop.
It's bad.
It's ironic we're starting out after they finished.
Yeah.
2 games too soon.
Yeah. Then the NBA season does start in about a month, and everybody's excited for it. So many different storylines. I think we're ready to see. It's probably a miracle if they can get KD to come back at some point this year. It may not happen, but
don't do it.
Came
back too early last time.
Klay Thompson, he's going to come back about the halfway mark. So many different storylines: Lakers, Clippers, Boston, everybody. So we're excited for it. So
I'm super excited about the NBA. Before I make any NBA comments, we are 9/11 just passed.
9/11 just
talking
passed,
about Team USA. So always want to send shout out, love to those who lost their lives in that terrible event. And I think we kind of collectively as a country took a loss on that night or that day, actually. Obviously, some more than others. So always a soft spot in my heart.
Same, yeah. It's a tragic incident, and it's when you think about it, everybody knows where they were when it happened. I was actually in a classroom when it happened, and you turn on the news and you see this, and then the next plane. It's just a very I'm choked up. It's kind of tough for me to speak about, but it's just a very tragic incident, and our thoughts and prayers are with the loved ones.
I remember where I was at too. Not to cut you off. I was walking to class because I was late. My brother drove us to school back then, the Helix High School. But I was walking to class, and when I walked in, they actually already had the news playing in the class, like on the TV in the classroom. So I walked into it like this. It was like math class or something. Like why is the TV on? And I saw it, and I was like, oh wow, it's insane. This is bananas.
It's insane.
But I want to leave this on a quote that I read over the weekend. Okay. The world will be a much better place if we lived every day like we lived September 12th, 2001. I don't know if you guys remember how close we were as a country. There was no hate. It didn't matter what color you were, what social economic status you held. We were one. And I think that was a really dope quote that I read over the weekend.
Yeah, well said, well said. All right, moving on to Antonio Brown. He's in the news again, and no, it's not the helmet. No, it's not his feet. And no, it's not any drama with the Raiders or the Patriots. We just found out that he's being sued, I guess you can say. It's a civil lawsuit for a woman that's saying that a few times Antonio Brown allegedly sexually assaulted her. So what do you think about this with it being a civil lawsuit?
This is tough, man.
Yeah.
Being men, being guys, it's hard. It's always hard to kind of put ourselves in the woman's shoes in this case. But trying to put myself in the shoes of those around her, because I'm sure she has some type of family or at least somebody around her. He got to go to jail. If I can't put hands on him and he did something like this to a woman that's close to me, I can't go to jail. I can't put hands on him because you can't get close to AB. We're not. We might go for the lawsuit afterwards, but you got to go to jail, bro. Yeah. If I can't put my hands on you, that's a criminal. These are criminal things that she's alleging.
Yeah.
So to go after a civil lawsuit is kind of questionable to me. Obviously, always got to be sensitive to women, and especially for the victims of situations like these and circumstances like these, because we can't say enough.
Yeah.
How many women go through this, and it's not talked about, and it needs to be, and they need to come forward or whenever they're ready.
Yeah.
But I would just hope that when you're ready, it's not for money.
Yeah. We've heard some of the quotes and articles and things that have been said from both parties. We just have to play the waiting game. It is a touchy subject. I believe if they haven't talked to her, they're going to talk to the victim already. Antonio Brown, I think he's not making comments on it. But very, very tough situation. Everybody has their opinion on it, but it is kind of weird that it is a civil lawsuit and not, it just seems like she's after money, but it's a tough, sticky situation.
And if she isn't, shame on you, Antonio Brown. Shame on you.
Yeah.
But some better news for Antonio Brown. You won. You lost 15, 20 million. But congratulations on making your way to the Patriots and the front row seat at a Super Bowl for sure. They were already the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
They don't need him at all. So now you have all these extra cameras, all this other distractions on there. So
glad he's saying this. Oh, keep going. Sorry.
With that being said, we'll go ahead and lead into some of the...
No, we're not going to skip over this. What happened to Brady and the Patriots?
That's what I was saying. We will skip over to some of our Week 1 predictions.
Okay.
We will start with that game. I was 100% wrong. I thought the Steelers would win.
Is it possible to be more than 100% wrong?
The Steelers lost bad. However, I will say this. Sometimes you never know what type of Patriots team you're going to get. Sometimes they start off slow in September, and then they win 10-11 straight. Sometimes they come off firing all cylinders and they look like the unbeatable team as they did Sunday night. This Patriots team is buttoned up as they always are. They are running the ball well, passing the ball well. Josh Gordon looks great. But I will tell you this. Name one team that would have been able to beat them Sunday night.
It wasn't the Steelers.
Okay.
The Cowboys look pretty good, but we'll get to them. I don't know, but your prediction was more... I was so upset about your prediction because it was the Patriots don't have an identity. It was, we don't know what Tom Brady
Sometimes they don't, but
We're
think
start
about
off
it.
Slow.
You got no Gronk. Josh Gordon's just coming back.
It's the Patriots. That is...
I get it. I'm not
consistency.
I'm not saying that they're not going to make it to the AFC Championship because I think we all know they are, if not the Super Bowl. But you got to think, you know Gronk, Josh Gordon's coming back, Edelman's coming off of a small injury. Don't know.
Like I told you before, as long as the guy with the sweater with the short sleeves and number 12 is there, everything else is interchangeable. Everything else is interchangeable.
Okay, perfect. Done. Period. Next paragraph. Since you want to talk about predictions, what about your Browns? The Browns can't even beat Tennessee?
Hey, shout out to Tennessee.
I mean, it's Tennessee with Marcus Mariota.
I'm not gonna lie. I was wrong. I thought the Browns was gonna come in and smack them by about 50.
And what did I tell you? What have we seen from the Browns? And I'll answer that question for you. We've seen an average-looking Baker Mayfield. We've seen Odell look great in pregame warm-ups with his nice little fancy watch on.
Oh, he wore it in the game, too.
I know. And then on top of that, the defense, they can't even stop an average Tennessee Titans offense?
Well, I will say this.
You were very wrong. I will say that.
I was wrong about the Browns. I was wrong about the Browns beating the Titans. If it hadn't been for the Steelers playing, I might have been wrong about my pick to win the division. But the great thing is Juju Smith-Schuster can't get open without AB being double covered. Ben Roethlisberger is the real quarterback that looks slower and old. Not Drew Brees, not Tom Brady. It's Ben. And I hate to say this because I got Ben and Juju on my fantasy team.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team.
I do.
For the 15th time.
But anyway.
What team is going to win in Foxborough week 1?
It's not
I don't care what week.
It's not about winning. It's not about winning. Because you can win and look bad. We'll talk about that later too. But you can also play well and lose. They looked really bad and lost. And I'm sticking by the Browns. They looked terrible. I was ready to come in here and be like, man, you know what? I'm going to throw the Browns away with that.
Just wait.
$500,000 watch. How much that watch cost that OBJ had on?
300, 200, or no, 180.
Hey, Odell. Next week that watch better say game time, so you know what time y'all got to show up and win.
And the bad part with that whole thing is he knows that people are going to look at him and everything he does. And he came out and said, oh, if I tie my shoes a different way, you guys will notice. If you were a nobody would care. Yes, we get that. You're Odell Beckham, so you do stuff
but who cares?
To get seen.
I agree with you 100%. I think the man is a marketing genius. Don't be surprised if that watch company doesn't in turn do some kind of endorsement deal with him, pay his fines, whatever it is.
They probably already did.
So I'm not mad at him for this. Yeah. This is only a topic because we made it a topic.
Sure.
Nobody cares he had a watch on.
Nobody.
It didn't hurt a defender when he was trying to tackle him or anything. It doesn't matter.
The watch didn't break.
The worst thing that could happen is it breaks and he breaks a $100,000 watch. Yeah. So it's not like this isn't one of those things where I'm mad at Odell like, oh, you shouldn't have done it. This is one of those things like, it looks really bad because you guys got your ass kicked.
Yeah. Something else to talk about. Another distraction for the Browns.
It's a distraction because they lost, though.
I do think the Browns are a great team, but like I said a few weeks ago, if you guys didn't see, go back and tune in. What have we seen from the Browns?
I can't wait till next
Nothing.
week. Come on, Cleveland.
Nothing. Cleveland is playing the Jets with Sam Darnold, who has mono. Le'Veon Bell had an MRI on his shoulder today. I wouldn't be too proud about beating a Jets team that is banged up and they got backups playing.
You're proud about beating a Colts team that didn't have that quarterback retired 2 days ago.
I didn't say
in overtime.
When did I say I was proud about it?
Okay.
It was a tough win. Chargers historically, Chargers lose games like that. That's who he does.
That was before we turned on the cameras. I'm sorry.
How did Austin Eckler look?
Austin Eckler looked great in overtime, beating the Colts.
Can 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, one came in overtime, right?
It doesn't matter. Touchdowns are touchdowns. You don't discredit Jordan for all his points in overtime, do you? No,
because they were against actual teams.
It doesn't matter. Hey, they're still a decent team. Jacoby is not a horrible quarterback.
No, it didn't call him horrible.
He's not bad, and they still have a decent surrounding core. You got Ty, Marlon Mack, which is another Marlon. He's really good.
Marlon, you should come on the show. Marlon versus Marlon with Marlon.
With Marlon, yeah, and you'll be with the with. All right.
Yeah, because he's gonna argue you too. We're not that good. We shouldn't have took you to overtime.
that was the matchup. Should have been. We should have blown them out. We were up, and of course, typical Chargers. We let them come back.
I love it when you're honest on this podcast.
I'm always honest. Everything I say is honest.
It's questionable.
That's why, like I told you before in last episode. If you didn't hear this, go back and tune in. I like Larry Fitzgerald over Antonio Brown. Better receiver. What did AB do last week?
Yeah, go back and watch that episode because that's not what you said. You were scared to answer that
question.
What
did AB do last week?
AB didn't do anything last week.
Oh! Go look up Larry's stats. All right. Moving on. Packers and Bears. That was an ugly game. We all know.
I have to
Of
stop
course,
this
I
right
picked
now.
the Packers, and he picked the Bears, and now he wants to talk.
I picked the Bears. We lost. I was wrong. I don't really care.
Yet again.
I believed him when he said that, what's the running back's name?
Tariq Cohen.
I believed him when he said Tariq Cohen could carry an offense.
Well,
It's not the case. But before we move on, just because he said this, at the end of the season, we're going to look at AB's stats minus a game versus Larry Fitzgerald's stats. Continue with your Green Bay hype.
Yes, we will. I will say this. With the Bears, Matt Nagy is trying to be a little too cute. Who starts, unless you're a Saints or a Patriots or a team like that.
They're way too good to start like that, just for the record.
Who?
Any of those teams you just named, they would never start the game like that.
They would never start like that. But I'm just saying, who starts off a game with 3 running backs? What do what type of wing T offense with motion and all that stuff? Like Tariq Cohen, Mike Davis. Mike Davis should not even be playing. I don't know why he's even playing. And then you got David Montgomery. David Montgomery should be the guy, the main guy. I don't know what they're doing in that offensive system. They made Packers defense look great. They did spend some money on that defense, the Packers did. But I don't think the Packers defense is that great. For you to be the Bears and not get that win over the Packers, that's all because of Matt Nagy and that play calling.
Well, I think this was, a lot of people said this was, the Packers look great on defense and the Bears are great. The Bears had a good defense last year. I won't take that away from them. But this just looked like 2 bad teams beating each other up. Now this is week 1. By the Packers offense either. I expect a lot more out of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, but here's the thing. This is essentially week 5 of the preseason. How many teams should have won but didn't?
Until you miss the playoffs by 1 game.
Pittsburgh. There's a bunch of teams that should have won. The Browns should have won against Tennessee.
Pittsburgh shouldn't have beat.
Pittsburgh should have won. They on paper. They're kind of better.
Which paper? What paper are you looking at?
I'm just saying the Giants should have won. I will say this. We'll transition over. We'll transition over this.
Just know that he's not always honest on this podcast.
We'll switch over to this. The Cowboys looked better than I thought they would, but they're playing the Giants, so you can't take too much from that game and try to dissect it and read into it too much and think the Cowboys are this great team when they've played Eli Manning and the Giants. That's all I'm saying. But they did look better than I thought they would look.
I hope you guys see what he's doing. Because
I'm giving you credit.
He just justified the Chargers sneaking by the Colts and Jacoby Brissett with a win in overtime.
This is not about my team.
And then said you can't take too much from a game where we beat 2-time Super Bowl winning Eli Manning and the Giants.
Bruh, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. How many years ago was it when Jacoby won his Super Bowls?
But it's a completely different team.
My point in this is it's very easy to get sucked into a sloppy, bad game against a bad team. When you're crisp as we were on offense, when your defense shows up like we thought they would, regardless of who you're playing against, gives us a chance to win. And that boy Dakota looked like he ready for a contract.
I will agree with that. He has been the most consistent player over the course of his time on the Cowboys. He's only made $2 million. Like, that's ridiculous. Now, I will say this.
He's been most consistent when 21's behind him. Because when Zeke was out, he didn't look as good.
Well, that's the thing, because Zeke makes the offense whole. Without Zeke, Dak is average. And he knows it. Dak is an average quarterback without Zeke. But if you have all those pieces around him, old Jason Witten coming back scoring a little touchdown, Dak looks better. The offense is more complete with Zeke in it.
I'm going to say two things that a lot of people aren't talking about with the Cowboys right now in their offense. Yes, I'm glad Zeke's there. He did what he's going to do. I love the play calling. Night and day from what we're used to. But Michael Gallup emerging as that number 2 receiver to Cooper.
Gallup is nice.
And the addition of Cobb is great for this offense. Cobb is
sleeper.
A better version of Michael Beasley. And I love Michael Beasley and what he did for us over the years. But Cobb is a veteran receiver, proven, been the number 1 guy, been a top guy in offenses, and plays that slot position better than almost anybody to do it. So him being there, looking young, spry out there, him in that offense takes away pressure off of Amari, lets Gallup run those deep routes and those over-the-top routes that he likes to run and he's so effective at. And it takes a lot of pressure off Dak because if he's not there, good old faithful Jason Witten will be there underneath. And those two guys, those two vets, balancing out this young offense are huge. It's my Cowboys talk. Hope that wasn't too biased. 1-0, undefeated.
1-0, undefeated Chargers too.
You guys almost had a tie.
Almost doesn't count. Ha! Cowboys, they like I said, they do look good. Get the Dak deal done, Jerry. I don't know what you're waiting on. The longer you wait,
time. If he keeps playing like this without a deal, don't pay him yet.
What? All right. Now you got to risk injury. I'm just saying he want to get those guaranteed dollars because old my homeboy, as Shannon Sharp likes to say, he's coming up next and he's gonna get that $40 million easy. Like that's already done next year. So, but we will see. We do have a good plethora of games coming up this weekend. We do have the Panthers and the Bucks playing behind us. Are the Panthers up yet? Panthers are still down by the Bucks.
17-12 in the third.
I love Cam. I told somebody else this week. I said, this might be Cam's last year to prove himself. He can't throw far. We've seen his shoulder. By the way, talking about shoulders, Drew Brees.
Oh, he just threw a pick.
Oh, great. Drew Brees, you can tell he has regressed. Their offense is still great. I'll give you that. But he can't throw the ball downfield anymore. I don't even think he threw the ball over 20 yards.
He did. You know
in the game.
You know when?
What?
The game-winning drive, he threw it over.
Okay,
20 yards.
one time.
When it mattered.
One time. All I'm saying is that the team is still great as long as they keep plays that don't allow him to throw it, fades, and he can't do it anymore. His shoulder is gone. Just like Cam Newton, his shoulder is shot. This might be Cam's last year.
Give me a Drew Brees that can't throw the ball 20 yards over a young. I'm just saying. Anybody who can throw the ball over 30 yards and doesn't win. He's a winner, bro, and that's what matters in the NFL. It doesn't I don't care how far you can throw the ball. If you're not in a position to throw the ball over 20 yards, and when he needed to, he did. He was 1 of 1 over 20 yards in that last drive, and they won. It was a game on a drive. And by the way, that might be the best game we see all season.
That was a
that
great
might be
game.
let me say that might be the best finish because that finish was crazy.
Yeah.
That was dope. It was a good game.
And that's the thing. Sometimes it's just like, I don't want to compare the Chargers, but we essentially did the same thing. We're up, and then you let that team come back. But That Saints, like I said last week, that Saints home field advantage is something else. But
those darn Chargers, they let DeAndre Hopkins and come back against them.
Hey, we got the win.
It's not like the Chargers. That was two great teams going back and forth. It wasn't the Chargers.
So Cowboys are a great team?
No, I'm talking about the
Okay,
Saints.
as long as you said no, so we know that.
And the Texans were two great teams going back and forth.
They were. I will give them that.
The Chargers and the Colts was not two great teams going back and forth.
Speaking of greatness, I don't want to call him great yet, but I think he's on his way there. Lamar Jackson, amazing game last week. 5 touchdowns, 300 some odd yards. I told you guys last week, I said I do think that Pittsburgh will win the division, but don't sleep on Baltimore. You can see his arm. His arm has gotten a lot better than last year. Mark Ingram, one of the best pickups of 2019 season. They will be in the wild card for sure.
Well, I know you guys like hearing about my fantasy team, and guess who has Hollywood Brown? This guy. Anyway, quick update on the game that's going on right now. There was a flag on the defense on the interception, so he didn't throw an interception. But 2 plays later, he fumbled anyway. So Cam still gave him the ball.
Cam, but
I want to apologize. I know I was right about last week about the Saints and the Texans going back and forth. If it comes down to a shootout, I take Drew Brees. Moving forward, I was wrong about the Panthers being the third place team. They're going to finish 4th in that division. I was also wrong about the Baltimore Ravens. However, he's not going to keep doing this every week.
He did play Baltimore, and I do want to adding on to your point. I mean, I'm sorry, they played Miami. So adding to your point, he had a great game, yes, but we have to look at who he played. Just like the Cowboys, great game. Who'd you play? A team that's gonna finish probably last in the NFC East. So that's why I said don't read into that win so much.
I forgot Fitzmagic won 2 Super Bowls this decade.
Because
I forgot.
They're the Giants. Done.
I forgot.
All right, looking into week 2. What game do we want to start with first? Oh, this should be a shootout. We got the Seahawks at Steelers. What you got? And this one's in Pittsburgh, so...
What makes you think it's going to be what did the Steelers show you last week that made you say it's going to be a shootout?
This is what... Well, who's going to win in Foxborough?
No, we're asking who's going to win.
I know, but you said what's going to be the difference between this week and last week?
We're not going to
Who is going to win in Foxborough?
We're talking about all these traditions. And
Answer my question.
The Patriots defense isn't shut down. You don't score any points against us. We're going to come in here and beat you 10-3.
Actually, if you go back and watch some of the past years,
they win games 10-3.
No, because they score points on offense. But sometimes they do shut teams down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do. Go look it up. I got my receipts for that. That's what the young kids say.
But what I do know, and with those receipts, is Belichick takes away your best option and makes you beat him with number 2. Juju was ineffective. And they don't have a number 2. Okay. Not that Washington guy you were talking about. Seahawks win. It's on the road.
Trust me.
West Coast teams always hard playing on the East Coast. Seahawks go win, no problem. Beat them by double digits.
This is one thing that I was saying too about preseason week 5. There are a lot of teams that don't play their players. How many big name quarterbacks do you know played in the preseason? Cam, and he got hurt. Other big name players don't play because they don't want to get hurt. So the chemistry might not be all the way there, but eventually it will happen. I know I said I was going to do a fantasy segment, but I'm not going to do that because I have a lot of people in my leagues and I don't want to give you guys free game. But if you guys drafted these people, wherever you drafted them, don't panic. If they got 4 or 5 points, don't panic. You drafted them for a reason. You need that chemistry to develop. Just relax. It's only week 1. There are a lot of teams that should have won in the regular in week 1 that didn't. Chemistry's off. It's okay.
Yeah, tell that to your owner when you miss the playoffs by 1 game. I don't know if you know how playoffs work. They don't care if you lose in week 16, 17, or week 1. If your record is lower than that guy who won in week 1, you're not making the playoffs, buddy. I don't care about preseason week 5. Preseason 1 through 4 don't count. But preseason game 5 That counts, buddy. It's week 1.
It's just week 1. Don't stress. Your players will get back. The chemistry on a lot of these players will get better. Trust me. So
I will say this though. This isn't about fantasy. This is about real life football, like real football. Teams like the Panthers, who are 0-1 and had 2 home games to start, if you lose both those home games, buddy, you're in trouble. You are in trouble because you can call it preseason game 5 and 6 if you want to, but you're not making the playoffs.
This is week 2.
Yeah, that's why I said 5 and 6.
No, trust me, I get it. But I will say this. Every other team in that division lost except for the Saints. So it's not like everybody won and you lost. So, but it's still very early, but you can't fall behind too much. So
there's a reason teams go 8-8, 9-7, and make the playoffs because it's hard to win on the road in this league,
especially in the NFC.
So when you're losing 2 games back to back at home, I'm not betting on you to go win on the road after that. No. So good luck, fellas.
All right, back to the Seahawks and Steelers. This is why I do think that this will
danger Russ.
This is why I do think it's going to be a close game. Pittsburgh, I do think they will come out and get ahead, but Russ, the past 2, 3, 4 years, he's always made great comebacks. That's why Russ is going to have a great fantasy game this week. Trust me. It's going to be a close game. Pittsburgh will come out and win it by a field goal, but I do love this game.
Not even close. Not the team in black and gold.
All right, Chargers at Lions. Chargers will win. It will be a close battle up until the third quarter. Then we're going to pull away. Austin Eckler, another big game by him.
Chargers win in overtime.
See? Chargers fan right here, man. I tell you. All right.
Hi, San Diego.
Cowboys at the Redskins. That should be easy. I think we're all going to pick the Cowboys on that one.
Oh, look, a Cowboys fan.
No, it's just the Redskins. I mean, Geis is out for I don't know how many weeks. You got AP starting back, so...
we don't need to break them down. They're not good.
I know they're not, but I'm a big AP fan, so that's...
Well, let's talk about
Cowboys,
something that matters.
this should be a must-win for the... I don't want to say... Yeah, this is a must-win for the Cowboys. If you lose against the Redskins,
next
it
topic.
says a lot about your team.
Next topic.
That's all I'm saying. All right.
This is why I get so excited when he's actually honest, because he says stuff like that.
Vikings at the Packers. You picked the Bears to win the division, so you got 2 teams in that division.
Where are they playing? Green Bay?
Green Bay.
I'll take the Vikings.
Wow. Aaron Rodgers all day. Final drive, Aaron Rodgers comes down, touchdown, Geronimo Allison. Remember that. Jags at the Texans. That should be a good one.
Oh, well, shout out to my really
your
god brother Austin. Just sent to the group chat that I guess Jalen Ramsey has some humble pie,
which is probably for the first time since he's been in the league.
And he said he gave all kind of praise to DeAndre Hopkins. He said he's a 99 in Madden, pretty much means you're unguardable, and he's also that way in real life. So you don't really see that guy give praise too
At
often.
all,
so
ever.
And I don't think he's wrong. I'm not saying that by any means either. But I mean, the Jaguars, they don't have a quarterback, so I don't think this is going to be close.
Yeah, I'm excited for the game. It's going to be that matchup, and Jalen, he follows. He's not like a Revis or a Sherman or that plays zone, so he follows. So that should be a good matchup. I like the Texans.
Man, what's the next game?
I know. All right, Chiefs at the Raiders. We saw a different Raider team, and I don't know if the Raiders are actually pretty decent or the Broncos really suck, but this is going to be at the Raiders' home again. So last year at the Black Hole, I still have the Chiefs. Patty Mahomes they're just unstoppable. It should be a high-scoring game because the Chiefs can't stop anybody. So I think it should be a high-scoring game, but I got the Chiefs by a touchdown.
B. Barmer. I love you. My best friend. The godfather of my kids.
Trash Raiders.
Y'all look pretty good. I think week 1, I fell asleep. I'm in Dallas now, so the time, it was a late game.
Oh, it was late. That started at like 10 o'clock.
The highlights, y'all look really good. But you're playing against the Chiefs this week, buddy.
It's a wrap.
Why are you even asking me to pick this game?
It's a wrap city. All right. Saints at the Rams, the revenge game. But except for this time, it's going to be in LA. This should be a good one. The Saints aren't the same team as they are on the road than they are at home. I got the Rams in this one.
I'm interested to see how the Rams look. Week 1, they beat a bad Carolina team.
Gurley was kind of...
Is Gurley healthy? Is he not
Yeah.
healthy? They lost their backup, C.J. Henderson, this year. I don't know. I think that's one of those teams that are I still think they're really good. And I still think they'll win this game. But I think this will be kind of telling as to where they really stand as far as their position in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the very few NFC teams that are still ranked above the Cowboys in the power rankings. So I think this will be kind of telling to see. So I'm picking the Rams. I'm going to go with you guys again for this week. I did last week as well. And I was right, as usual. But this will be a good game. It'll be very telling.
Yeah.
I don't think their defense is as good as it was. Aaron Donald was a monster.
Jacked. But should be a good game. I know we're all ready for it. That is the game of the week, so we will be tuned into that one.
I got a prediction for that game.
Not
about the winner.
Go for it.
Most flags through weeks 1 and 2 in that game. I think that this game is going to be so scrutinized because of what happened last year to end the season for the Saints.
Let's just let it go. I'm so tired of hearing about it. I can't.
For fans who go into seasons knowing that their team probably won't win a Super Bowl, it's really hard to conceive how hard it is to get over losses like that for teams who expect to win. So I get it.
They lost in overtime. They still got beat in the fourth quarter and they lost in overtime. So here's the thing. I understand. Like the better team won.
There is no overtime in that game with the calls made. You do realize that, right?
Nah, not necessarily. You don't know that. We can play that. We can go and play that game back and forth. You don't know.
This is why I appreciate when he's honest.
Nobody knows.
Honest segments.
So we can go back and forth about it all day. Let it go. It was a missed call. It happened. Okay, now we got this stupid rule where you can go and check pass interference calls. It slows down the game. Now instead of 3 hours, the game is 3 hours and 30 freaking minutes. I hate it. Just let it go. Be done.
You lose 30 minutes on your Sunday that you were doing so many important
Yes, because I'm watching other games, making sure all of my leagues are doing what they're supposed to be doing with fantasy.
How are you doing in fantasy after week 1?
All right, Eagles at Falcons. Eagles at Falcons. I did say that the Eagles will win the division, and I did say that the Falcons will win the division. Eagles looked pretty nice. Deshaun Jackson, he didn't. The team didn't? Eagles didn't look nice? Stop hating.
It took 3
I
quarters.
gave the freaking Raiders credit.
It took 3 quarters for them to get past the Redskins. The team that you just told us is a must-win game for us.
And watch them beat you this weekend.
If they beat us, they beat us.
What we betting?
We don't have. Do you really want to bet on the Redskins?
Let's do it.
Okay, we're
AP back.
AP didn't even get to suit up. His coach said, "Don't even put on your."
It don't matter. He's starting this week.
So what's our bet? Let's tell everybody.
We'll do it. Nah.
Oh, look. Yeah.
We'll
keep that same energy.
We'll cut this part out. I think the Falcons do have a bounce back game. I don't think they'll win, but I do think that they will show some promise, if you will. I think that receiving core is going to have a pretty good game. But the Eagles, it's too many weapons with the Eagles, and their defense actually looks pretty decent. So I got the Eagles.
I don't know what to expect from you. You're so all over the place. I don't know how you gauge looking good and not looking good. You say
the Falcons didn't look good last week. The Eagles did. It doesn't matter how long it took them to look good.
The Eagles gave up 27 points to the Redskins and only beat them by 5. And you're saying their defense looked good. And you're saying the Cowboys have a must-win against this same team this week.
Preseason number 5. It's okay. Certain teams don't show their identity until week 2, 3, and 4. You got to get the kinks out. Not everybody plays in the preseason. You can't expect your team to look flawless in week 1 unless you play the Giants.
I think you just said we looked flawless. I appreciate that. I'm going with
he missed that. He missed that.
I'm picking the Falcons. Matt Ryan's MVP season. So he says.
Bounce back. I'm telling you guys. Just be patient. Falcons fans, be patient. The turnaround's coming. Saints
you better win this week, Falcons.
Saints aren't that good. Watch some Saints get blown out. Watch. I'm telling you. All right, in the last game, Browns, Odell, Baker, and the crew versus a Sam Darnold-less Jets. Who you got?
I think the Browns bounce back and have a strong week. I think they have to.
You got to. You can't go on to.
I think they have to.
Go on to. Especially if knowing that the Steelers are most likely winning this week. Ravens, they're 1-0. They play the Cardinals at home, so you got to have a bounce back game.
The Steelers might go 0-2. Did I pick the Steelers to go 0-2? Oh, I did pick the Steelers to go 0-2.
Yeah.
I still think for the Browns, psyche, for everything, before that thing implodes. One of my good friends, Jamie, said that the Browns imploded this week.
Yeah,
and I think for them to not completely shut down and start pointing the finger all over that locker room and front office and was it some mistake? It will be on unless AB makes more news. The Browns start 0-2.
He will.
I think it's gonna be good news this week though. Like 8 catches, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns for AB.
I give him that. Yeah.
But before we end off this weekend, let me say my dad told me that we are crazy. Absolutely crazy. He actually wants to call in. Sorry, Big Dad didn't call you. But he said we're crazy. I'm crazy. I don't remember what you said about Chris Brown. But
Mike
said it's not even close. Yeah. Mike Jackson, Chris Brown.
Yeah, that's what I said. He said Mike. Yeah.
But in our defense, or in my defense, I was only saying that we didn't get to see Mike Jackson's whole career like we're getting to see Chris Brown's. So, for example, if we went to a party in high school and Chris Brown came on, everybody was dancing. Or not in high school, but like maybe college. Everybody's dancing. Everybody's getting up out of their seats at that point of the party. Whereas with if a Mike Jackson song came on when we were in college, like we weren't turning up to it. That's all I meant.
But we still respect Mike for the legend that he is.
Right.
We did see since we were born, Mike was still putting out hits and stuff. So right. I do hear the comparison, I guess, but sometimes you just respect him for what he's done in the past. You just know he's the GOAT. So, yeah. But no, I do.
What Mike Jackson song you dancing to when they come on in the club?
Thriller.
Yo, first of all, you're at a sick club if Thriller comes on. If I'm ever at the club, if Thriller comes on, I'm leaving, and I want my money back if I paid. But we know I didn't pay to get in, so.
Back door.
No, from the front door. What?
Oh. We're cutting all this out.
No, we're not. We're keeping it. Leave it. But that is all we got for y'all today. Appreciate y'all tuning in again. We always appreciate y'all. The feedback, the comments, the support.
Thank you.
Much love. Hope you guys have a good week. We'll see y'all soon.
Peace.
We out.